Pay attention, because a lot of people hear one headline about Social Security and assume it applies to everyone the same way. But the real story is more layered, and that's why this update is creating both relief and confusion at the same time. The January update has millions of older Americans watching closely, especially as conversations swirl around Social Security payment amounts, average benefits moving closer to the $2,300 range for many retirees, and the renewed buzz about stimulus-style financial relief. Here's the twist. The biggest questions aren't just about bigger numbers. They're about what is actually changing, when deposits hit, and how to prepare in a calm, practical way so money decisions feel steadier instead of stressful. Social Security has evolved into far more than a retirement label. For countless households, it is the baseline support that keeps groceries affordable, prescriptions filled on time, and housing stable. So whenever higher monthly payments or policy discussions surface, they deserve clear, careful explanation rather than rushed assumptions. The latest figures show the average retirement benefit continuing to rise, influenced by cost of living adjustments and wage indexing. Yet not every recipient sees the same result, and that detail matters more than most people realize. Many retirees are receiving checks that land closer to the $2,300 range, but that depends on work history, the age benefits begin, and lifetime earnings, which means the number can feel familiar without being universal. What most people miss is the way Social Security is calculated. It uses a formula intended to replace only a portion of pre-retirement income, and it's built with a structure that can give lower earners a proportionally higher replacement rate, even while higher lifetime earners often receive larger dollar amounts. That's why averages can be tricky. One retiree might see roughly $1,800, while another could receive $2,600 or more, even though both are fully within normal outcomes under the same program. Still, the broad takeaway from the January update is that benefit levels remain historically elevated compared with just a few years ago, which is meaningful for people trying to keep up with everyday costs on a fixed income. Now watch this, because knowing the amount is only half the battle. Timing can be just as powerful when rent, utilities, and medical bills demand predictable planning. Social Security payments follow a structured schedule that has been in place for many years. And the schedule exists for one reason. It helps a massive system process millions of payments smoothly without piling everything into one single bottleneck. Beneficiaries who started collecting before May of 1997 typically receive payments near the beginning of each month, while most other retirees are paid according to birth dates, with deposits spread across several Wednesdays throughout the month. That staggered distribution isn't random. It's designed to keep the pipeline steady and reduce the chance of disruption. For January, deposits continue along that familiar pattern, which provides stability for seniors managing budgets carefully, especially after a period when spending can be higher and cash flow needs to be organized. Those in the early group often see funds arrive within the first few days, while mid-month and later groups can expect deposits within their scheduled distribution windows. Direct deposit remains the fastest and safest method, and in many cases, it allows funds to show up immediately, without the uncertainty that can sometimes come with mailed checks. Another advantage of electronic deposits is that they reduce the risk of lost payments and minimize delays linked to weather problems or postal slowdowns, and that reliability is why many people have shifted toward digital delivery as their default. Financial experts keep emphasizing one simple step that prevents a lot of headaches. Make sure banking information on file with the Social Security Administration is accurate and up to date. Even a small error in account details can trigger unnecessary stress, so taking a moment to double-check numbers and personal information can protect peace of mind and keep payments moving without interruption. Alongside these core Social Security updates, there is renewed public conversation about stimulus-style financial support, and it's important to understand what that does and does not mean. The emergency stimulus programs from previous years were connected to extraordinary economic conditions, but policymakers continue debating targeted relief measures aimed at helping older adults manage rising living costs. Inflation has cooled compared to its peak, yet everyday expenses remain a major concern for retirees living on fixed incomes, especially healthcare, insurance, and housing, where costs can feel stubborn even when broader trends look calmer. When people hear the phrase stimulus check, expectations can jump straight to the idea of a large, one-time payment, but current discussions are more detailed and more varied than that. Some proposals focus on expanding tax credits for seniors, others explore supplemental payments for lower-income retirees, and other ideas involve adjustments that could indirectly increase monthly benefits. The key message is straightforward. Stay focused on verified announcements and avoid rumors, because misinformation spreads fast whenever money is tight and people are searching for reassurance. Financial choices made on speculation can create unnecessary risk, and stability matters most for retirees who depend on consistency. Another crucial piece of this January update centers on cost of living adjustments, known as COLA, which exist to help benefits keep pace with shifting prices over time. Without COLA, purchasing power would steadily erode, and retirees would gradually lose the ability to cover basic necessities even if the payment amount stayed the same on paper. The most recent adjustments are part of what pushes average payments higher, reflecting ongoing efforts to keep Social Security aligned with its role as a dependable safety net. Yet even with increases, many seniors still feel pressure because stretching each dollar remains a daily reality when fixed income meets real-world bills. That's why financial planners often encourage viewing Social Security as one part of a broader retirement strategy whenever possible, where pensions, personal savings, and part-time income can provide support, even though not every household has access to those options. For people who rely primarily on Social Security, understanding benefit calculations and deposit timing becomes even more essential, because small misunderstandings can turn into big stress. Put this into everyday terms. A monthly payment approaching $2,300 can create meaningful stability, but budgeting still requires intention. Fixed costs like rent or property taxes can take a large share right away, and then utilities, food, transportation, and medical needs line up quickly behind them. A predictable deposit date helps retirees plan ahead, reduce anxiety, and avoid missed payments, especially when multiple bills hit in close succession. Another area tied to this January update involves administrative check-ins. Beneficiaries are encouraged to review annual statements, confirm tax withholding preferences when applicable, and watch for official correspondence, so there are fewer surprises and fewer misunderstandings. Much of the communication now arrives electronically, but some notices still come by mail, and reading them carefully can help ensure you receive every benefit you're entitled to and that your records match what the agency has on file. One topic getting increased attention is the taxation of Social Security benefits. Depending on total income, a portion of benefits may be subject to federal taxes, and that catches many retirees off guard, particularly when they also begin taking withdrawals from retirement accounts. Planning ahead for potential tax obligations can prevent unpleasant shocks at filing time. Some people choose voluntary withholding so taxes are spread out rather than owed all at once, which can make budgeting feel more predictable across the months. Healthcare costs remain another major factor shaping retirement finances, and they influence how far a Social Security check actually goes. Premium changes, prescription prices, and supplemental coverage decisions can quickly reshape a budget, and while benefit increases can ease some pressure, they don't always keep pace with medical inflation. That gap is one reason it's so important to stay informed about available assistance programs and to review coverage regularly, because small plan details can have big impact on out-of-pocket costs. Now circle back to the stimulus-style discussion, because clarity is everything when headlines get loud. When reports hint that new payments could be possible, misinformation can take off. So the safest approach is to rely on confirmed government announcements rather than speculation. Decisions based on rumors can add risk, and retirees who value stability deserve information that is solid, not shaky. Economic conditions continue to evolve, and policymakers recognize that retirees can be among the most financially vulnerable groups during times of change, which is part of why talk of supplemental support persists. Whether the focus is direct payments, tax relief, or benefit adjustments, the underlying goal remains consistent: help older Americans maintain dignity and independence throughout retirement. Another reassuring element in the January update is the overall strength of the Social Security payment infrastructure. Even while serving tens of millions of recipients, the system processes deposits with remarkable consistency. Delays can happen occasionally due to banking holidays or technical issues, but broad, widespread disruption remains rare, and that reliability is a major reason Social Security has long been viewed as a promise, support that follows years of work and contribution. At the same time, many retirees think about long-term sustainability, and questions about the future of the Social Security trust funds often appear in the news. That attention can sometimes spark unnecessary alarm. But while demographic shifts do create challenges, lawmakers have historically acted to preserve the program, and ongoing conversations about adjustments are part of ensuring future retirees can rely on the same dependable support current beneficiaries depend on. For practical day-to-day protection, the most useful steps are also the simplest. Keep financial records accessible, monitor bank activity around expected deposit windows, and report irregularities promptly. Small habits like these prevent minor issues from turning into larger problems, and they give you more control in a system that can otherwise feel complicated. There's also emotional relief in understanding how the system works. Financial uncertainty weighs heavily, especially for people who remember periods when retirement security felt less predictable, and knowledge reduces that burden. When you know when your payment is scheduled, and you understand why your amount looks the way it does, it becomes easier to focus on living rather than worrying about what might happen next. Ultimately, the January update reflects continuity more than disruption. Benefits remain steady. Averages continue trending upward, and the ongoing conversation about additional support signals that the needs of older Americans remain on the radar. Social Security continues to function as a cornerstone of retirement for millions, and while no system is perfect, the dependable rhythm of deposits offers a foundation many households build their entire budget around. So, if one theme runs through everything here, it's preparedness through understanding. Learn how benefits are calculated, remember that your personal benefit matters more than any average headline, follow the structured deposit schedule that applies to you, keep your information accurate, and stay attentive to official updates rather than rumor cycles. With that clarity, uncertainty starts to fade, and knowledge becomes a quiet form of protection. These payments are not simply numbers moving from one account to another. They represent the continuation of a promise and recognition of years spent working, contributing, and helping build the society shared by everyone. And the more you understand the system's logic, amounts, timing, adjustments, and the surrounding policy debate, the more confident and financially prepared you can feel moving forward. Now, if you're comparing your own deposit to that $2,300 average and feeling uncertain, remember this: averages are built from many different real-life situations, and your outcome is shaped by the same core factors already on the table: your earnings record when you started benefits, and your lifetime work history. That's why two people can both be right and still have very different checks, and why chasing someone else's number usually leads to frustration instead of clarity. Focus on what you can control, understanding the formula's purpose, watching your scheduled deposit window, and keeping your accounts and contact details current so the system can do its job smoothly. Also, don't overlook how much predictability matters. When funds arrive on the expected day, it becomes easier to line up automatic payments, plan prescription refills, and avoid overdrafts or late fees that can quietly drain a fixed income. And when a notice arrives, digital or by mail, treat it like a tool, not a threat. Read it, confirm it matches your records, and keep it filed so you can reference it if questions come up. On the policy side, the most grounded way to handle stimulus-style chatter is to separate discussion from decision. Debates and proposals can signal awareness of rising costs, but until something is verified, it should never be treated as guaranteed income, because building a budget on unconfirmed talk can create a painful gap later. The same principle applies to COLA. It is designed to protect purchasing power over time, and it has helped lift average payments. Yet many households still have to make careful choices, especially when health-related expenses fluctuate and insurance or housing costs stay heavy. That doesn't mean the system is failing. It means the reality of retirement budgeting is precise, and the strongest advantage you can have is a clear understanding of how the moving parts connect. So the headline version is simple but important. The January update points to steady payments, elevated averages compared with a few years back, a long-established deposit schedule that keeps the pipeline reliable, and ongoing discussion about targeted support that ranges from tax credits to supplemental help for lower-income retirees, to changes that could indirectly lift monthly benefits. Keep your attention on official sources, keep your paperwork and banking details aligned, and keep your expectations rooted in what's confirmed, because stability begins with clarity, and clarity makes room for confidence. Char count 15345.